Galactic Council chamber hummed with the chaotic symphony of 1,000 species, each adding their own unique sound to the galaxy's interstellar politics. Susan Martinez stood at the edge of the grand hall, her human frame dwarfed by the towering Christians and the massive Therogen delegates. She had long since learned that humans were considered unremarkable, too soft, too weak, too emotional to be taken seriously among the apex predators and ancient civilizations dominating known space. Her research partner, Lucas Chen, stood beside her, tablet in hand, reviewing their proposal for the third time that hour. They had come to request something simple: permission to establish a human research outpost on the frontier world of Dramor 7. It should have been routine. It was anything but. "They're not even looking at our data," Lucas muttered, frustration thick in his voice. Susan shrugged, a small smile playing at her lips. "What did you expect? We're humans. We've only been part of the Council for 30 standard years. Most of these species have been exploring space since before our ancestors discovered fire. What no one in the Council knew was that humanity's classification in the galactic hierarchy was catastrophically wrong. A mistranslation during first contact had labeled humans as Tier 7 prey, non-threatening, herbivorous, weak. The truth was far more terrifying. But the slow wheels of galactic bureaucracy buried the correction in committees for decades. The session droned on until a sudden commotion near the entrance drew everyone's attention. A Vraxian hunting pack burst through the doors, their sleek, reptilian bodies moving with predatory grace. Vraxians were Tier 2 apex predators, feared throughout the galaxy for their hunting prowess and strict hierarchical culture. At the center, a small figure struggled against restraints, a Vraxian cub no more than 5 standard years old. "Honored Council," the pack leader hissed, her voice echoing across the chamber. "We seek judgment. This cub has committed the unthinkable. She has refused the hunt, rejected her birthright, and dishonored our entire lineage." The cub, her scales a lighter shade of green than the adults, trembled but held her head high. "I will not hunt the weak," she declared, her young voice cracking. "I will not kill for honor when there is no honor in it." The council erupted into chaos. To refuse the hunt was to reject everything the Vraxians were. It was cultural suicide, a stain on the entire species. The pack leader's crest flared with rage and shame. Something stirred in Susan's chest, an old human instinct the galaxy had taught her to suppress. She stepped forward before Lucas could stop her. "Wait," she called out, her voice surprisingly clear in the massive chamber. Thousands of eyes turned to her. The Vraxian pack leader's gaze was particularly withering. "This is not human concern, pray thing. Step back before you dishonor yourself." Susan's jaw tightened at the insult, but as she looked at the young cub, she saw something familiar in those alien eyes. Fear, determination, and the desperate hope that someone, anyone, would understand. "On my world," Susan said, walking toward the center of the chamber, "we have a saying, it takes more courage to show mercy than to show strength." The pack leader barked a harsh laugh. "Human philosophy means nothing here. You know nothing of our ways, our hierarchy of the natural order, don't I?" Susan stopped a few meters from the cub and knelt to meet her eye level. "What's your name, little one?" "Syra," the cub whispered. "Syra, why did you refuse the hunt?" The cub's eyes glistened with unshed tears. "Because I watched them corner a Felixian family. The parents threw themselves at our pack to give their younglings a chance to escape. They died protecting their children. The adults called it cowardice, said true predators don't sacrifice themselves. But I saw something else. I saw strength. I saw what I want to be." Susan nodded slowly. She stood and turned to face the pack leader. "You call me prey. You call my species weak. But you don't know us at all, do you?" "We know enough," the leader snarled. "Then let me enlighten you," Susan said, her voice hardening. "My species didn't climb to the top of our food chain because we were the strongest or fastest. We did it because we never gave up. Because we protected the weak instead of abandoning them. Because we bonded with other species. Wolves, horses, dogs, cats, and turned competitors into family." Lucas moved closer, tablet forgotten. He recognized the tone in Susan's voice. She was done playing by the galaxy's rules. "We are persistence hunters," she continued, her words echoing in the suddenly quiet chamber. "Endurance predators. We tracked prey for days until they collapsed from exhaustion. We threw rocks with deadly precision, killed from hundreds of meters away, learned to cook, grew brains capable of building civilizations, splitting atoms, reaching the stars. We domesticated predators that once hunted without mercy and turned them into companions who would die protecting human children. We didn't do it through strength, but loyalty, bond, choice. Syra stopped trembling, staring at Susan with something like wonder. Susan knelt again, opening her arms. Syra, you asked a question no one else understands. You're not broken. You're evolved. You've seen past the hunt to something greater. I'll answer you. Yes, if you want, you can be mine. Not as prey, not as property, but as family. That's what humans do best. The chamber fell silent. Slowly, Syra stepped free from her restraints and pressed her scaled head against Susan's shoulder. A sound emerged from her throat. Not a hiss or growl, but something like a purr. Impossible, the pack leader breathed. That sound. That's the bond call. It only happens when a Vraxian recognizes a higher-ranked predator as pack leader. But you're human. You're tier 7. We're tier 1. Lucas spoke quietly, showing long-buried correction reports on his tablet. We always have been. You just never checked. The realization rippled through the council. Humans were not prey. They were apex predators who had hidden in plain sight for 30 years, letting the galaxy underestimate them while they learned, adapted, and waited. The human research outpost on Dramor 7 is approved, Susan said firmly, and Syra comes with us. Any objections? No one spoke. As Susan and Lucas left the chamber, the small Vraxian cub between them, the galaxy finally began to understand what humanity had known all along. The most dangerous predator isn't the one with the sharpest teeth, but the one who decides that mercy is strength, that family is worth fighting for, and that the weak deserve protection. Behind them, the council erupted into frantic activity. Files pulled, classifications reviewed, protocols rewritten. Humans had been among them for 30 years, quiet and unassuming, learning every secret, every weakness, every system, all with smiles on their faces. Syra looked up at Susan as they boarded the shuttle. Can you teach me? She asked. To be strong like humans? Susan smiled, ruffling the cub's head. You already are, little one. You already are. The shuttle lifted off, carrying them toward Dramor 7, toward the frontier, toward a future where one small act of courage changed everything. Behind them, the galaxy was finally beginning to understand what it meant to be human, and they were terrified.